At this point in the NBA season, we've learned a lot. To begin the season, there were a lot of takes that, well, just right now, they haven't aged well. Today, we're going over the 3 biggest misconceptions of the 2021 NBA season. At number 1, Harden's fit with the Brooklyn Nets. You know, when he just joined the Brooklyn Nets, you heard a lot of people saying there are 3 ball-dominant players in James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. And that was true at the time, and there was a lot of concern around it. Even I was a victim of this. Harden averaged 34 points over the last 3 seasons before Brooklyn. No one expected the change to be so drastic. Harden, who just came off a season as being one of the highest usage players, not only in that season, but of the last decade, we didn't expect him to completely change his ways and really fit in a role that the Nets did not have at the time. Harden this year was in the race for being the assist champion and took the least amount of shots a game since 2012, since OKC. When he was a backup, when he was a 6 man, this is the least amount of shots he's taken a game. This man Harden completely changed his game. His field goal percentage in Brooklyn is a career high, one of the most efficient years in his career. Harden changed his game not only to pass better and be a better playmaker, but it's not like he's inefficient at all. This man's still tearing shit up in Brooklyn. And not only that, when Harden went to the Brooklyn Nets, there was this big concern about defense. When it comes to that time when the Bucks are going to meet you in the playoffs, what are you going to do with Giannis Antetokounmpo? What are you going to do with these big players that you might have to meet, like a Joel Embiid, a LeBron James in the finals? How are you going to defend him? Well, simply enough, Brooklyn has squeaked by. In the past couple games, we saw Kyrie get hurt. And then we saw Harden come back, but he was cardio Harden. He wasn't the same Harden that we've seen in the playoffs or really any type of Harden. He was missing step-back threes you normally see go in. It just wasn't the same Harden. And yet they've stayed good enough to be a good defense to make sure Milwaukee doesn't beat them. Right now, they're up 3-2 in the series, which they just came back from a 16-point deficit. And I don't see them losing the series. Harden will be a lot better this game than he was last game. And to me, that changes everything. Milwaukee has been disappointing, but goddamn Milwaukee. I had Milwaukee beating them in the second round, and I had them beating them in 6. Like, no. What was I thinking? Now, yeah, we did know that the amount of talent on this team was ridiculous. But when you take away that talent and Kyrie gets hurt and Kevin Durant's the only player left on the team, and then cardio Harden, I mean, it was basically Kevin Durant with a Harden with passing vision. That's all you got that night. So when all 3 of these stars are at full health, it's going to be scary. However, though, we never know if that's actually ever going to happen, considering that they've only played 7 games together where they've actually all been at full strength. And at number 2, the biggest misconception coming into the 2021 NBA season, the Phoenix Suns. Look, man, I'm a victim of this one too. Coming into the season on my preseason ranking video, I had the Phoenix Suns being the 8 seed and being a first-round out to the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, we all know that take has aged terribly. The Phoenix Suns are the second best team in the West record-wise, and right now they're in the Western Conference Finals. And quite frankly enough, saying the Phoenix Suns would be the 8 seed was not that hard of a take. The Phoenix Suns started as 8-8 and were like the 8 seed in the Western Conference right after they just blew 2 straight games against their Denver Nuggets when they had leads. And then after that 8-8 start, they went 43-13 and were the 2nd seed in the West. And not only that, they were the 2nd seed by 1 game. They were 1 game away from being the best team in the West. This Phoenix Suns team came out of the blue. The development of Mikal Bridges, the development of DeAndre Ayton. We know how great CP3 has been. And, you know, Devin Booker even got better, and he's been playing amazing in this year's playoffs. But nobody saw this coming, and it was a big misconception. So to all those people who were saying the Phoenix Suns would be a first-round exit to the Lakers, yeah, barring injuries, they might have been a first-round exit to the Lakers. But this team is quite amazing, and they have a chance to win a championship this season. Right now, they're in the Western Conference, which, I mean, is injured, and it just doesn't look as strong. Right now is their time to get their first championship in franchise history. And the 3rd biggest misconception of this season is the Bucks will break out. Now, look, don't get me wrong. The Bucks can still win this series and potentially go to the finals. But to me, I still don't think they've broken out. To lose a game against cardio Harden is straight embarrassing. Now, there's no disrespect to Harden. Harden's an all-time great. But it's like when Harden is playing that bad and you still lose that game and you had a 16-point lead, that is just straight embarrassing. Now, the reason why this is a misconception, and I didn't even see it happening even though I did pick them to make the finals, but why I thought they wouldn't get there is their coach is still terrible. He doesn't make adjustments in the playoffs, let alone run pick and rolls for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, when you have a 7-foot strong, like 240-pound beast, and he can finish like an all-time great, and he can pass pretty well too. You put him in the damn pick and roll. But the Bucks haven't done that. The Bucks have basically been, let's give it to Giannis, let's ISO, and let's kick out for a three. Well, the Brooklyn Nets have literally just made that useless. The Bucks have not been good at all when ISOing Giannis, even though they ISO Giannis about 25% of the time. This ISOing that Giannis does, when Giannis gives up the ball, his teammates have to ISO because they don't put Giannis in pick and rolls. So basically, you have Bryn Forbes ISOing, you have Pat Connaughton coming off dribble handoffs. What are the Milwaukee Bucks doing? I don't understand it. And not only that, I feel like we all expected too much from Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton in his career has not been an amazing, fantastic playoff player. We thought this was the year to break out because now he had Drew Holiday beside him instead of Eric Bledsoe. But it's been in the same story itself. If you look at the past 2 regular seasons, he's been phenomenal. He's been efficient. He's been scoring well. He's a great mid-range shooter. He's all around an amazing scorer and a great offensive player. But then if you look in the playoffs, I mean, the story has just repeated itself. He's just been disappointing. And, you know, whether that be on the coach or just not having a big enough role or not being aggressive enough in the wrong mindset, whether it be any of those, Chris Middleton has been disappointing. And I feel like we should have really thought about that before putting the Bucks in the NBA Finals. And also, even though Giannis has been amazing this series, Giannis has been amazing this whole playoff run, we know there's one thing missing from his game, and it's not shooting. It's just a different type of scoring. He has that transition scoring, but in the half court, he's useful, but he's just not as useful as he is in transition. Giannis needs that stationary scoring that he just doesn't have in his career yet. You know, sometimes he'll make a three, but he shot 40 times out of the paint this playoff run, and it has not looked pretty. But yeah, y'all, thank you for watching the video. I appreciate all the support. Make sure to leave a like, do all that. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Gave her back. They were boring and I do not be with that. Smoking on this tree, I eat with the cat. It be around me cause I don't trust a soul, yeah. Niggas switching up on they bros, yeah. Changing up for these hoes, yeah.